Hello everyone, I'm Joe Session. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to pay tribute to a truly remarkable jazz musician, the drummer, composer and band leader Jack DeJohnette. His recent passing has reminded us how deep and wide his contribution to jazz truly is. And I thought it would be nice to honor his memory by sharing 10 of my favorite albums that he was involved with, either as a sideman or a leader. Now, I want to stress this is not a countdown. I'm not ranking these albums from worst to best. Rather, it's 10 albums in no particular order that to me showcase Jack's brilliance behind the kit and beyond. So if you're ready, let's dive in. First up is the Miles Davis album Brew from 1970. This album is one of the landmark recordings of jazz fusion, and Jack DeJohnette plays a pivotal role. He joined Miles's band just at the right moment when it was shifting into a more electric, experimental territory. On Brew, he is one of the main drummers, anchoring these sprawling, groove-based improvisations. The music on this album is bold and boundary-pushing with multiple instruments layered. It has long takes, ambient textures, and a sense of open time. Jack's drumming helps to create that electric, elastic feel. Less straight swing, more a propulsion from within. Brew is often cited as the moment that jazz fully embraced the rock-funk fuse, and DeJohnette is right up front in that shift. Besides Jack on drums and Miles Davis on the trumpet, there are many other notable musicians on this project, including Chick Corea, Wayne Shorter, John McLaughlin, Dave Holland, and many others in the sessions. Jack works with all of these voices of the era. My favourite track is probably Pharaoh's Dance. I love how the rhythm opens up with that quietly ominous pulse. Then the horns enter, and Jack's drumming gives a constant conversation between driving kit and shimmering cymbals. It draws you in and holds you. If you haven't listened to this album for a while, listen to it with good headphones and pay attention to Jack's ride cymbal work and how he leaves space. That's part of his genius. Now shifting to Jack as a leader, Sorcery is one of his albums under his own name and offers a different side of his musical personality. The style is exploratory with elements of fusion, open improvisation, atmosphere. You sense he's freer to shape the music his way. The feel of the album is both mysterious and dynamic. There are shimmering textures, shifting rhythms, improvisation that stretches out. You hear the drummer's composer hat. While less widely known than some of his sideman work, this album represents Jack carving out his own voice, not just as an in-demand drummer, but as a creative leader. My favourite track off of this one is Epilogue. For me, it encapsulates the mood of the album. Space, subtlety, interplay. Jack's drumming is responsive rather than dominating, and you get the sense of cups of tension and release. This is a great one to listen to quietly, maybe late evening, letting these subtle drums and textures wash over you. Here is perhaps a less obvious album to some, but very special. Bill Evans' live recording from Montreux in 1968. Jack DeJohnette is the drummer on this date, along with Eddie Gomez on bass, and it's one of the few live documents of that trio lineup. It's piano trio jazz, but with a freshness, because Jack brings a different energy compared to conventional Evans drummers. There's a sense of swing, subtlety, and at the same time freedom. Evans interacting with Jack's rhythmic flexibility. Bill Evans is of course a giant of jazz piano, and this Montreux recording captures him in a live European festival setting. And the drummer is a younger Jack DeJohnette making his mark. My favourite track from this album is Nardis. I always find this track mesmerizing. The way Evans takes the melody, Gomez dances underneath, and Jack supplies rhythmic pulses and washes of cymbal texture. For a viewer new to Jack's drumming in a trio setting, this track is gold. If you want to hear Jack in a more delicate trio context rather than a large ensemble, this is a must listen. Moving into another side of Jack's sideman work, guitarist John Abercrombie's album Timeless features Jack DeJohnette on drums. The album is atmospheric, cool yet with energy, characteristic of the mid-70s ECM style. Spacious, contemplative, with jazz fusion and post-bop elements. Abercrombie's guitar work floats over a sensitive rhythm section, and Jack provides a crisp but flexible foundation. This album helped to define the ECM aesthetic of time and showcased Jack's ability to move into more subtle, modern settings, not just straight ahead or fusion groove. Alongside John on the guitar and Jack on the drums, you have Jan Hammer on the keys. My favourite track on this album is Ralph's Piano Waltz. The waltz time and lyrical melody allow Jack to display his light touch, his sense of space, and his ability to support rather than dominate. If you're interested in an atmospheric jazz album where the drummer's input is refined yet vital, this fits the bill. Next up is Charles Lloyd's Forest Flower, recorded live at the Monterey Jazz Festival featuring Jack DeJohnette on drums. On this album, the quartet felt youthful, vibrant, and exploratory. There's modal playing, there's interplay, and it has crossover appeal. Moreover, Forest Flower became a crossover hit, drawing younger audiences to jazz, and Jack's drumming in this context shows his early versatility. Alongside Charles Lloyd on the sax and Jack on the drums, you have Keith Jarrett on the piano and Cecil McBee on the bass. My favourite track on this album is Forest Flower Sunrise. The long lyrical structure gives the drummer room to breathe and speak, and Jack's playing helps to propel the piece while still staying responsive. If you want to explore Jack's work in a live festival setting, this album is compelling, energetic but also reflective. Here, we return to Jack as a leader. New Directions is an album under his name and a stellar example of his compositional and band leading side. It's jazz that draws from multiple sources: fusion, post-bop, world rhythms, improvisation. You get a sense of Jack shaping rhythm, melody, and texture. By this point, Jack had built up experience as both a sideman and a leader. And with New Directions, he shows a mature, articulated vision. My favourite track on this one is Bayou Fever. To me, this track stands out for its rhythmic drive, the groove that pushes ahead, and Jack's interplay with the rest of the band. If you're looking for a Jack leader album where he's not just laying down the beat, but shaping the music from the front, this is it. Another excellent album that features Jack on the drums is Joe Henderson's Power to the People. This album sits at the intersection of hard bop, post bop, and the nascent electric jazz era. You hear acoustic and electric instruments, freedom of expression, a forward-looking mindset. The album shows jazz musicians embracing new textures and electric instruments around 1969, and Jack is right there providing the rhythmic engine. Alongside Henderson on the sax and Jack on the drums, you have Herbie Hancock on keys, Ron Carter on bass, and Mike Lawrence on trumpet. My favourite track on this album is Afrocentric. This track particularly appeals to me because of its strong groove, sense of movement, and Jack's drumming feels both anchored and exploratory. If you're interested in a less obvious Jack appearance that still packs weight, this is a gem. Now here's one of Jack's most enduring associations: the Standards Trio with Keith Jarrett and Gary Peacock. Standards Volume 1 is the album that launched that three-man format. The trio plays jazz standards with extraordinary interplay. You hear deep listening, subtle shifts in time, and improvisation that feels both rooted and fresh. Jack's drumming in this context is masterful. He sustains groove while responding in real time to his bandmates. The Standards Trio became one of the most respected small ensembles in jazz, playing for decades. Jack's longevity and consistency in that group mark him not just as a powerhouse, but as a thoughtful collaborator. My favourite track from this album is The Masquerade Is Over. In this track you can hear how Jack sets the foundation, then interacts. You hear his subtle cymbal work, his phrasing, his responsiveness. If you listen to how the drums breathe with the piano and bass, it's a masterclass. If you want to hear Jack in a more standard jazz setting rather than all-out fusion, this album is essential. And now here's another strong album featuring Jack DeJohnette on drums, Freddie Hubbard's Straight Life. This album is an excellent example of early 70s jazz where fusion is starting to creep in. This album has a bold, brassy sound, funkier rhythms, electric textures, and excellent solos. Jack's drumming in this context is capable of that bigger sound, but still nuanced enough to drive improvisation. Hubbard was a major trumpet voice, and by the early 70s, he was exploring new directions. Jack's involvement reflects his openness to different jazz styles and settings. My favourite track on this album is the title track Straight Life. I choose this track because it kicks off with impact, and Jack's drumming gives it propulsion right from the start. It's a lively, dynamic track and a fun one to play. If you want to hear Jack in a high-energy, somewhat electric-tinged jazz setting, this one's for you. And finally, an album from his later career, Parallel Realities, which was recorded in 1990 and features Herbie Hancock on keys and Pat Metheny on guitar. The album blends jazz fusion, and modern sensibilities. You'll find electric and acoustic instruments, layered sounds, and Jack's drumming and compositional voice at the forefront. By 1990, Jack was a veteran but still innovating. This album shows his continual curiosity and willingness to explore. My favourite track on this album is Dancing. On this track you can hear the interplay between Jack's drumming, Metheny's guitar lines, and Hancock's keyboards. It's lyrical, propulsive, modern, a satisfying synthesis of many strands. If you want to end your listening journey with an album that reflects Jack's maturity, versatility, and forward-looking attitude, Parallel Realities is a strong choice. And there you have it, some of my favourite albums featuring Jack DeJohnette. I hope this video has given you either a fresh way to appreciate his drumming or a few new albums to dig into. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button, it really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you stay up to date with my latest uploads. I'd like to hear from you. What's your favourite Jack DeJohnette album? Or do you have a favourite Jack moment or memory that you'd like to share? Make sure you leave a comment down below. If you want to continue hanging out with me here on the channel now, I will pop a video in the corner for you to click on now. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.